Real Madrid beats Pachuca 3-1 for the first win of the Club World Cup, and this is how Xabi Alonso managed that. Before we dive a little bit deeper, I want to make 2 points. 1. Asensio's red card very early in the game really limits the takeaways from this game because we don't know if Xabi Alonso wanted to implement anything else. I mean, we really only saw 10 minutes with the full 11 on the pitch. And 2, Pachuca performed like a team that was at a very low level, so it'll be interesting to see this tactical approach for 90 minutes against a team that has a higher level. Now on paper, there's only one change that Xabi Alonso made coming into this match, and that was adding Arda Güler into the starting lineup and removing Rodrigo Goes. Now as the match started, it was quite clear that Xabi Alonso decided to move away from the 4-3-3 and instead decided to adapt a 4-4-2 diamond, with Bellingham, Valverde, Tchouaméni, and Arda Güler as the center mids. And I think this match perfectly summarizes some of the call-outs that I've had in previous videos. We saw Arda Güler playing that controlling tempo role. We saw Jude Bellingham playing that role in which he attacks the box, and we saw him opening up the score. We know that Jude Bellingham is capable of playing that deeper role as he did with Borussia Dortmund in his early years, but I've said it before, we've seen his best years with the Real Madrid jersey on when he attacks the goal and gets into those positions to either score or assist. That is where he is most influential. Valverde as that box-to-box mid on the right-hand side is absolute perfection, especially when you have a player like Trent Alexander-Arnold, whose focus was to play that traditional right-back role, push up in the attack, and come back on defense. Now, I do want to highlight, this is one of Valverde's main strengths. We saw a couple instances where Trent pushed forward and we had Fede Valverde drop down into that right back role to help avoid counterattacks. And this is one of the main reasons why I'm not so concerned with Trent's defensive ability, is because we have a workhorse like Fede Valverde who can absolutely cover. It's very important to note that we did see some defensive mistakes in the first 10 minutes. We saw Pachuca completely take advantage of the space that the center backs were leaving and play through ball after through ball, trying to attack Dean Huijsen and Raúl Asensio, and ultimately one of them worked and resulted in Asensio receiving a red card. But what does this tell us? You have a player like Fran Garcia who's pushing forward and providing that pressure higher up the pitch. We saw at some instances as well on the right-hand side with Trent pushing forward and applying pressure higher up the pitch, even resulting in Valverde having to fill that spot that he left. But we saw the fullbacks very active, pushing forward. When we saw this high intensity pressure with the fullbacks pushing forward, we saw Tchouaméni remain in that center defensive mid role, being that anchor that supported Dean Huijsen and Raúl Asensio. Now, as I mentioned, we did see some mistakes, and this is absolutely natural when Xabi Alonso is implementing a completely new system. This Real Madrid squad hasn't really been a high-pressure, high-intensity team defensively. It's always been about being a lower to mid-block system where you can be a little bit more passive, but be more mindful in your defensive positioning. And it looks like Xabi Alonso is trying to implement a very similar style that he had in Bayer Leverkusen, where it's about high intensity, high pressure, disregarding a little bit that positional awareness, not being so conservative, but attacking, making your opponent uncomfortable and winning the ball very early on. As we take a look, Arda Güler was often dropping deep to receive the ball from the center backs. This led to Arda Güler directing the play, controlling the tempo, and opening up the pitch. We did see instances where he switched off with Bellingham and Jude dropped in a little bit deeper. That was only in the first 20 minutes or so of the match. Again, Asensio's red card may have limited this tactic, but Arda Güler was the main playmaker, as many of you called it in my previous post. And what happens when you have Trent playing further up the pitch to help be influential in the attack? Well, the second goal. You saw that perfect ball by Trent over to Gonzalo, who laid it off perfectly for Arda Güler to finish. All in all, this game gave me a lot of optimism for the coming matches. I mean, I've been very vocal about Xabi needing to adapt to a 4-4-2 to get a player like Arda Güler in there to help build up play. I've been vocal about Xabi needing a proper left back for his style of play, someone who can contribute in attack, but also is defensively solid and has the ability to get back and forth quite easily. This may have been a slightly unpopular opinion, but I strongly believe that Fran Garcia will be important in this Club World Cup, and this is why. The width that the fullbacks provide is absolutely essential. Now, Fran Garcia's playstyle absolutely suits what Xabi Alonso needs in this 4-4-2 formation. The issue is the level at which he executes. Does Fran Garcia have the ability to play against the top level teams in the Champions League, in La Liga, and be solid? Probably not, but he's good enough to be a substitute against teams like Mallorca, Getafe, Osasuna. Saw it in that first goal. Fran Garcia pushed up further up the pitch, got that cross in, and helped set up that first goal. We saw it a couple instances in the second half when Dean Huijsen had the ball, played a through ball over to Fran Garcia with his pace, and he was able to create some chaos on that left-hand side. And in the attack, we had the attacking duo of Gonzalo Garcia and Vini Jr. Gonzalo has shown absolutely top level in these first two matches. The first match was a little bit rough for the whole team, but he had his name on the scoreboard, which is what matters for a striker at the end of the day. The second match, he absolutely dominated in all aspects. He was playing as a 9, making runs into the box. He was playing as a traditional 9, getting the ball with his back to goal and helping in that build-up. He was dropping down. He was moving to the wings. He was very versatile and very fluid in the attack. There was quite some instances where he actually helped quite a lot defensively. Now, this may be a result of Asensio's red card and having Gonzalo Garcia drop down and defend, but what we can notate for sure is that he has the work rate and he has the humbleness to help defensively. There were some rumors earlier this summer that Real Madrid and Xabi Alonso specifically wanted a traditional 9 backup striker. And I think these two matches in the Club World Cup have already shown us that we should give that opportunity to Gonzalo Garcia. Give him a full season. Let's see what he can accomplish. Here, 2 matches in the Club World Cup. It's not Vinicius Jr. It's not Rodrigo. It's not Arda Güler. It's Gonzalo Garcia who has the most goals and assists. 4-4-2 diamond with the fullbacks in Fran Garcia and Trent Alexander-Arnold providing that width. Where does that leave a player like Vinicius Jr.? Well, I think it's quite clear Vinicius was a lot more involved in this match compared to the previous match, and that's because his position as that inverted left forward was a lot more fluid. We saw him be very mobile. We saw him pinch over to the left when we needed to create width. We saw him pinch into the center when we needed to attack a little bit more directly. We even saw him play slightly false 9 role and help in the build-up. This is the Vinicius Jr. that thrives when he's getting the ball consistently, when he focuses on the game. So at the time of recording this, Real Madrid sits tied for first place after 2 matches. The third match will dictate whether Real Madrid wins this group and whether we face Manchester City or Juventus.